I think one of the things that makes Monolith Soft so unique when it comes to Nintendo Studios is that they really have this, I would say, aptitude for making sure that they get the most out of anything that they work on. Now, plenty of Nintendo teams have done that and do that. The Mario team, the Zelda team, there's been plenty of great developers that do incredible work. But since Monolith Soft makes these huge, unique, different type of RPGs that you really can't play anywhere else when it comes to the console market, it's really impressive and it stands out amongst what Nintendo's done traditionally with Zelda and Mario and Smash and some of their other games. And clearly that passion and that drive to be the best, or to be one of the best, has driven Monolith Soft to be one of the most notable studios, despite never having a game sell over 3 million units in terms of what they particularly make. But I do think things might change on the Nintendo Switch 2, and their next big RPG gets even more exciting and bigger overall because of what they had to say recently about how they go about their business with gaming. So we're going to talk about what Monolith Soft said and how they'll never be satisfied with the status quo, and they're aiming for even higher quality going forward, which is absolutely incredible news for their next RPG. I want to talk about that next RPG because there's some big things that's going to happen with it based off of a number of things that they've said before in the past and some of the stuff that Takahashi has talked about when it comes to what they want to do. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the topic here. Shout out to Nintendo, everything for it. And clearly, Monolith Soft is one of Nintendo's most important studios at this point. They have development support on a number of major franchises like The Legend of Zelda, Splatoon, Animal Crossing. Now, despite all of that massive success of what they've done and what they've worked on, and the multi-millions of games that they've worked on have sold, they still want to do more. Now, this brings us to Hirohide Sugiura, the company's co-founder and representative director, and he's mentioned that the company will never be satisfied with just saying, all right, this is just it, the status quo. They're always aiming to do bigger and better things. Now, this was part of Monolith Soft's 2025 company brochure, where Mr. Sugiura was asked about his goals and dreams in the future when it comes to Monolith Soft and Nintendo, and here is how he responded. Quote, "Compared to when the company was established in 1999, the number of staff has greatly increased. There are 3 development centers, and we have worked on many large titles. However, I don't think things like success or accomplishments are satisfactory enough. As long as Monolith Soft continues to exist, we will never be satisfied with the status quo and would want to aim for higher quality." Now, the thing about this, as of the time that I'm recording this video, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition has just launched, and the game is probably their first crack, actually it is when it comes to Nintendo, taking a game that was already in HD and being able to repolish or re-release that game. Most of the titles that they've released on Nintendo's hardware throughout the Nintendo Switch life were new titles or new games built upon in that era. They did take Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, but that's a Wii game, and that has a whole different set of challenges when it comes to adapting it to the hardware that it's on, which I think did present a few issues here and there. However, Xenoblade Chronicles X was already built for HD, so they're able to take an already really good polished game and make it even better. So I think that's one of the reasons why, along with their experience already remastering the Definitive Edition, they were even able to make a better, I would say, re-release or remaster of a game than Definitive Edition was with Xenoblade Chronicles X. So I do think that aiming for higher quality each time, that drive and that passion, it's not built into how much money they make or whatever the case is or how many units they sell. It's built into their DNA in terms of things. And that's absolutely good news going forward with the Nintendo Switch 2 and their next big RPG, which Takahashi has already been recruiting for years now at this point. And I'm pretty sure, based off of everything that we do know, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was probably done in 2021 based on them switching the release dates, moving it forward a number of months. So I'm almost positive when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 Monolith Soft RPG, they've probably been working on it now for about 3 years or so, and maybe, just maybe, with the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation coming up, and of course probably a Nintendo Direct later in the year, and other things that's set for Nintendo Switch 2 to have a big first launch year, I do think that we will see at least the first glimpse of what Monolith Soft is working on next when it comes down to it. Also, when it comes to the quality of Monolith Soft, we do know that there is a hidden 60 frames per second mode within Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition on the Nintendo Switch. It's just kind of hidden away in the code or whatever the case is, and it looks like it will be unlocked on the Nintendo Switch 2. So that's also something that just kind of shows that Monolith Soft always thinking ahead, always thinking one step above. So the Nintendo Switch 2 should be absolutely massive when it comes to their new RPG, but also potentially enhancing Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition in addition to some of the other Xenoblade games. Maybe they have patches for Xenoblade Chronicles 1, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and all the different DLCs to run at 60 frames per second as well. We don't know. They're crazy over there at Monolith Soft. They might have been working in the lab to get all of that done right underneath our noses when it comes down to it. And Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition is a bit of proof that yes, they are thinking about that and have been thinking ahead when it comes to that next big hardware for them. So that is absolutely exciting. And I do think that the fact that they want to not settle, and they want to make sure that they do bigger and better and more quality and aiming for the best, hasn't always worked out in every time at launch like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but I think that they're learning as they go along. And they've expanded their team from 50 to 70 or so in the 6th and 7th generation to now nearly 300 people plus at this point, making some of the best games in the industry. So that's absolutely exciting for their next RPG. But what's also exciting is for all of those who are not subscribed that are watching and enjoying the content to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. I'd really appreciate it. Also hit that like button and click that notification bell to get my vids as soon as they drop. Now let's go ahead and jump into the next bit of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition news, and that is the icons. Now I just went through and got all of my icons and just changed it, and Nintendo does a little bit of like swapping here with the icons, so they're only here for like a limited time. So I definitely want to let you guys know, make sure you go download the icons right now or go buy the icons. They're not worth actual money, but like the Nintendo Platinum coins or whatever the case is, go on there and get all of them while they're here, because the problem is that usually you forget about it and then you want an icon, you're like, oh man, I want to switch, and then you don't have access to that until they decide to bring it back. So definitely go pick out those icons. I went and spent a ton of coins making sure that I got my girl Elma, and I got every single thing that I could get when it comes to the icons, and my icon is actually looking pretty good now at this point. So I do like the fact that they actually brought back the icons with the launch of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, and you can go out there and pick them out. But yeah, guys, remember, they are here for a limited time, and they are rotating them. I think it's like 320 to 327. There's going to be certain icons, and then it's going to be over a wave, 4 waves total, ending by April 17th. By next week, it's going to move to the next wave, and then the week after that, it's going to move to the following wave. So we don't know when these are going to come back. So make sure that if you want a certain character or everything, at least go check it out and see what you can do to get those icons. And if you don't have enough platinum coins, you can always do different missions in there to get the platinum coins. So there's always that. So it's pretty cool to see, and I hope that you guys all go out there and support Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition when it comes to the icons and all of that, because it looks pretty dope. And let's go to move on to the next thing when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. I've been playing the game a ton and I really enjoy it. I'll have a full 100% review or 100-hour plus review for you guys when I'm done. It's going to be quite some time though before that actually happens. I know it's probably going to take me a while to get through everything. Last night when I was playing, or more like this morning / last night, because I played from the night into the morning, but when I was playing, man, I just did a ton of side quests, did a bunch of the different mining type of missions and all that with the Frontier nav, did some arms testing overall, just doing all sorts of side quests, and I had a blast doing it. Xenoblade Chronicles X just has this certain style to it, just like lots of the Xenoblade games where the side quests can be really good. There are a number of side quests that are kind of like but at the end of the day, it's all about the exploration and what you do then. Now, this is before you get your skull, which makes things a little bit easier overall, but even just running through on the map and seeing interesting things to pick out and kind of fight and do and level up, and the different classes and the different weapons you get and the armor, and kind of just doing everything in the game is actually pretty dope. It's a really fun thing to do, but there is one issue when it comes down to it, and that's the affinity quest. And I want to get into that because Nintendo Everything put up a post on this, so I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a beware on this one, because apparently it's pretty annoying. I barely remember it on the Wii U version of the game, so it might be changed here, but I just wanted to make sure everyone knew about it. So the Reddit user Never Gonna Be Banned shared an extremely helpful tip on the Xenoblade Chronicles subreddit aimed at those playing Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition for the first time, and it's so helpful that we figured we'd share the tip here for visibility, and one of the reasons why I'm talking about it as well. Now, it concerns Xenoblade Chronicles X's affinity quest. You can only accept one of these at a time, and once you've accepted one, you must finish it before you start another affinity quest or main story quest. So that right there is a problem, right? Because you can't even advance the main story if you have an affinity quest locked in. So the problematic affinity quest in question is called the repair job. So remember that, the repair job with Lyn. Now, in short, this quest potentially requires you to go to extremely long distances to mine specific materials that you may not have access yet to. This would mean that you'd have to wander into areas you're vastly under-leveled for, and in some cases could set you back well over 10 hours. If you're going to accept affinity missions, it may be a good idea to save your game beforehand just to make sure you're able to accomplish the goal in a realistic amount of time. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition also does make a number of big changes and improvements to the base game, and it's possible that this quest has been changed as well, but we have not received official word that is the case, so make sure to steer clear from the repair job quest until you're much higher level. Probably you have your scale and you've explored a lot of the world, so you don't have to run into this major issue. Now, shout outs to Nintendo Everything and of course the Xenoblade Chronicles subreddit for the much needed heads up. We don't know if this quest has been touched up or not. I'm hoping that it would be, but yeah, locking out the main quest and everything with the affinity quest, that's definitely a problem. And if you can get it early enough to the point to where you're under leveled, and you know, Lyn saying, hey, come do this affinity whatever quest with me and whatever the case is, right, that's definitely not a good thing. So that can be a major point of frustration, especially for a super long RPG like Xenoblade Chronicles X, and then you do this and you're locked out and you can't get it done. Pretty much, I wouldn't say soft locks, but pretty much completely screws up the game to where you have to roll back right to a previous save, or potentially just be, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Just have to necessarily grind till you get up to a certain level, right? So it's definitely not something that you want to do, or you want to make sure that you're well aware of the issue beforehand so you don't have to worry about potentially getting stuck in that loop there. But when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles X outside of that, which I haven't got to that point yet, so I can't necessarily test it, but once again, heads up. But when it comes to the game overall itself, man, I am having so much fun. I think that one of the things when it comes to this definitive edition upgrade that I think that was better than what we saw with the original game being brought back is that the sound quality of the game has been upped. The usability has been upped. Quality of life features, hints, there's so many different things, text, UI, fonts, all that stuff is so much better and makes the game far more playable overall. Plus button mapping when it comes to scrolling with the arcs instead of using the D-pad, that has been incredible on the Nintendo Switch overall. Being able to play the game fully portable has also been incredible. Once again, long RPG, if you're grinding for materials or the mining probes and different type of stuff like that, then portable mode, completely portable, not having to be tethered to a distance from the Wii U, that is also awesome. Also not having to worry about having to use two separate screens and how you're doing that in portable mode and stuff like that. That's also an issue on the Wii U version, not an issue here on the Nintendo Switch version. But overall, I'm really impressed with the sound quality in the game and the surround sound. Now, I have an Elevate Vizio surround sound. I have it jacked in directly with the Nintendo Switch, and it does the 5.1 surround because I'm hearing the different types of surround sound from different speakers and stuff like that. It's not just all like one stereo image being pushed out through a couple channels. So it's definitely high quality there, and I really want to praise Monolith Soft on that because I was kind of just like blown away with all the different sounds that you hear, how good the quality of like the gun sounds, the machine guns, or if you're using like the knife energy guns, it's all really high quality. And one of the biggest things that I like about the game when you get into a fight, just even like the reloading sounds and stuff like that, man. But you combine that with what I talked about, like being able to scroll the button mapping and be able to move and attack at the same time, get into position for your different attacks, being able to have access to all your different characters all at one time. That's just something that improves the quality of the game so much based off of the Wii U version of the game. And once again, I think it's their best re-release of a game. I think it's better than Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Now, you might like that game more overall, but I think the quality of the remaster is better with this game, with Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, than what we saw with Xenoblade Chronicles 1 Definitive Edition. So Monolith Soft living up to that super high quality that they've always had, and I cannot wait to to see what they do next, man. I think that this is going to be incredible. So what are your thoughts on everything that we discussed here when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch RPG videos and more right here on screen. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.